Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth Podcast. I'm Anish Gupta, and today it is just me doing the Week 8 power rankings, basically the top 10, kind of like a herd hierarchy thing, as I always say. And it's definitely different from the last time I did it. I think it's been a couple weeks. I took the week off last week. I apologize for that. But it's a different top 10 for sure. So let's get started right away. And at number 10, this is going to surprise some people because I know a lot of people are thinking between the Niners, the Saints, even. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals here at number 10. And here's why. It's a quarterbacks league. And you know what? I was one of those people that were very skeptical on Kyler Murray. I said, okay, let's wait before we finally say anything. He looked very impressive. I watched the entire game end to end last night, and or actually back on Sunday. And if you did with me, hell of a game. But again, he outplayed Russell Wilson. I believe it was 420 yards, 4 total touchdowns. He did have that one bad pick. I'll give him some criticism on that. But again, he made the plays to win the game. And I give him credit because at the end of the day, who stepped up? And it was Kyler Murray throughout. I mean, obviously that final drive to tie it and then the drive to win it. Both times, in fact, with Zane Gonzalez getting another opportunity. So I think he outplayed Russell Wilson in that game, and I have to give him credit there. And they found their groove offensively and as a team. They were 2-0, right? Everyone thought, okay, let's see what this team has got. And then they lose 2 in a row to Carolina and I believe Detroit. And, people were like, oh, okay, maybe they were just an overhyped team. This is not like the 2019 Browns, and I've been telling people this. There's a difference with this team, and I like Cliff Kingsbury. He was a quarterback whisperer, in my opinion. And there were a lot of people who were skeptical on him just because of his college record. But, hey, he anticipated Mahomes' career, and I always give him credit for that. And I'm definitely giving him credit with this team. They've stepped up defensively as well. Isaiah Simmons, Jack was literally saying it. Where the hell is he? Nowhere to be found until on Sunday. Made the play. He made the pick. It was a really good interception. Usually most linebackers aren't fast enough to get there, so that was very impressive by him. So they stepped up on both sides of the ball on Sunday. And they've got a good mix of veterans and young players. Larry Fitzgerald, again and again. I mean, this dude is one of the greatest leaders I've ever seen. And it could be because we share the same birthday. But, I mean, just think about it. Intangibles. I mean, the final play of regulation, he literally strips the ball of his own his own teammate, rushes it to make sure that they get the time right. They were able to spike it. And it was really a couple seconds different. If he doesn't do that, I don't know if they get the playoff. So, I mean, kudos to Larry Fitzgerald for helping also DeAndre Hopkins, who I think has taken his game a little bit to another level. And you can even see the confidence in Kyler Murray going back to him a little bit. Just the way he throws. I mean, he didn't even have the hands on the laces on one play, and he was smiling knowing that Hopkins was one-on-one. I mean, that's just insane. And a quick shout-out to Budda Baker, who's playing, honestly, aside from, I think, Jesse Bates has also had another stellar season. He's played tremendous. I mean, 14 combined tackles against Seattle. Obviously, the pick where he got chased down by Metcalf. All the memes are already coming in. I don't have to explain it. But, yeah, shout out to Budda Baker. I really think he's got a shot at first-team All-Pro. But let's go on to number 9, and that is going to be the LA Rams. So, again, Jack and I picked the Rams to beat the Bears. I don't think it was an upset. I think they were favored. After, a kind of disappointing loss to the Niners, the Rams definitely put it on against the Bears. I wasn't able to watch the full game, but I know what they were able to do. Here's what I want to say. Again, quarterbacks league. I'm the quarterback analyst of the group. So Jared Goff is a winner. And you know what? I was never the biggest fan of Jared Goff. I'm still not, I would say, but I've come around. And again, 108 passer rating against the Bears defense, which is really solid. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And here's what I said. I believe he's 36-11 under Sean McVay. And he's a career winner, and I still stand by this, he was worth the contract extension. I give him that. I give him the credit for that. He wins. I mean, he hasn't had, again, less than 9 wins in a season since Sean McVay is there. The defense is good. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player overall by a long shot. I don't think it's anyone even close. As much as people think I hate on Aaron Donald, he's the best defensive player. Again, he broke 5 double teams and still made plays on the defensive side of the ball. Best defensive player, not close. But I want to say this. Ramsey was playing on very thin ice. If the Bears could have capitalized on 2 key burns that Jalen Ramsey, 2 key plays that Jalen Ramsey was burned on. They didn't, and the Rams ended up winning the game. But again, this team is looking really good. It just shows how stacked this NFC West division is. I had 3 teams. Obviously, I have 3 teams in the top 10. I wanted to put the Niners. People know how much of a Niners lover, I guess I am. I show love to them, but unfortunately, I just couldn't put them over the Cardinals right now. But don't be surprised if they do. Let's go on to number 8, and that's going to be the Buffalo Bills. And they won without a touchdown. I mean, Joshua freaking Allen, as much as I love to talk about him, still one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. He's cooled off a bit, for sure. But here's the thing. The reason why I liked Josh Allen wasn't because I needed insane stats. It was I needed the wins. And you know what? I believe they're 5-2. I'll take it. I'll take it. As long as he's winning, I'm cool with it because he's getting this team to where it needs to be. I think this team will win the AFC East. I think I'm pretty sure on that. Let's see how it goes. Unless, Miami takes an insane run or something like that. But yeah, again, Josh Allen, sure, he's cooling off a bit. Quarterbacks tend to do that sometimes. But again, they're looking good. Measly Beasley. I can't believe he's doing really well. What started off as kind of a joke, he's doing really great. So kudos to him. This rise of the Bills defense, they finally showed up. 4 yards? I don't care if it's the Jets. I mean, it's still an NFL franchise. 4 yards in one half. That is absurd. Shout out to Jerry Hughes for the deflection and the pick. But one guy I wanted to call out, Tremaine Edmonds, a Pro Bowler last year. I believe he led the team in tackles. He had like 115, I think. Where is he? I mean, 1 pass defended over 7 weeks. He had 9 last year, so that's a little bit concerning to me. A drop-off in tackles as well. I think he only has 46. But let's see. I need to see him step up a little bit more as the leader of this, great defense that I was expecting to be a top 3 to 5 unit. But yeah, again, kudos to the Bills. Number 7 is going to be the Tennessee Titans. And you know what? I'm convinced if they make that kick, they win in overtime. I'm convinced. The problem is why I keep them at 7 is because their special teams. I mean, football is a 3-facet sport. It's not just offense and defense. So when I see the fact that Gostkowski keeps missing these kicks, I will take that into consideration. But again, they're a great team. I was high on the Titans, as high as I was on the Bills. A lot of people know that. I keep them in the same tier for the AFC. The secondary is playing better. We saw them make plays. But where is the pass rush? That's another reason why they're at 7. Where is it? Their third down defense is the worst in the league. And for a team that's 5-1, that is a little bit concerning. But again, they've got a big 3. Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown, a guy I was high on. He is tremendous. And you know what? I think he's the best second-year receiver out of that class. I could be wrong. I think he's better than Metcalf. And you know what? People will hate on me for it. It's close. It really is. But I think A.J. Brown is just more of a playmaker, and he's more versatile than DK Metcalf. But no shade to DK Metcalf. He's a great player. Same thing with Terry McLaurin, another guy from Ohio State that I'm high on, and Deebo Samuel as well. They're all great. But A.J. Brown is looking tremendous. So moving on to number 6, it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I believe I had them pretty high last time I did these. But the problem is, and you know what? Again, it just goes to my quarterback bias. Russell Wilson at the time was playing like the best quarterback, but not overall. Again, I said this, and this is what I wanted to say. Against the Cardinals last night, or on Sunday, Russell Wilson didn't make the plays to win the game. And it's not because of that, but overall, I'm sorry, he's not the best quarterback in the NFL. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Mahomes boy. Russell Wilson is number 2, though. It's not close. I don't want anyone to put Russell Wilson out of their top 2. That is just blasphemous. But yeah, he didn't make the plays to win on Sunday night. And this defense is god-awful. I mean, I'm like, usually defenses win championships. I mean, this team, it's so weird to see the Seattle Seahawks be bad defensively. But yeah, where are Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner? Bobby Wagner's been playing good. I'll give him that. But he hasn't been, popping out on my screen. I just haven't seen him make the plays that I expect him to. I mean, I saw it on a key run by Chase Edmonds. He saw the play and he wasn't able to stop it. That's the play that he usually makes in the running game. I just didn't see it. So I need those 2 stars to come out and shine. Can they continue playing, on the edge essentially, because they're always playing in close games. And I told Jack this too, which is why I don't believe this team will win the NFC. I'm not sure yet. And here's why, because it's so hard to keep playing on these close games and keep winning by 7 points or less. It's going to come back and bite you. I'm telling you, it's so hard to live on the edge like that. That's a question. Can they do it? Who knows? They've always been good at it. But I don't know how long they can sustain this. Going on to number 5, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. This team is loaded on offense and defense. I hate that they're in our division as a Browns fan, but loaded roster. But they beat up on bad teams. Simple as that. I mean, Lamar Jackson he's not regressed in terms of passing the football. He just hasn't grown in that regard. Still the best rushing quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. They got Yannick Ngakoue and Dez Bryant. Those are 2 cool additions. I don't know how much Dez does, again, because their passing game is just not as lethal as people would have thought. Yannick could definitely make some plays defensively. Again, all their acquisitions have been working out. J.K., Patrick Queen has been playing like an elite linebacker for a rookie. And again, question, this is why they're not up there. How do they respond in primetime? I've told people this, 5 primetime games, and they're going to be exposed. People are going to see this, and I'm very excited to see this Baltimore-Pittsburgh game because this will be a big test. Because, again, people are going to see their flaws. I told people this. That's why I had that hot take of why the Ravens won't be a top 2 seed. It's just because this team, I need to see consistency out of them like I needed to see with the Chiefs. They proved it to me. Now can the Ravens do it, especially in these primetime games? Number 4 is going to be the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers bounced back. I mean, everyone expected this. I think we all did. We picked the Packers in a pretty, handed fashion to beat the Texans. So, again, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Jair Alexander is a bona fide star. I remember, again, shout out to Luke, a guy who's a really good friend of mine. We love talking about the Packers. And, we had a little bit of questions coming in, and he, especially on deep passes, Jair Alexander's been playing amazing. I mean, he shut down Mike Evans, for example. Like, he knows, and he played well against Will Fuller. He's a great cornerback. I think he's top 3 playing right now. And again, we've got to give Devontae Adams his credit. This is a guy I've been high on again. I argued it, Jack, with Adams over Evans. He's just, in my opinion, he has always been a great receiver. Always been top 4 in my opinion. And who knows, maybe he goes into the top 3. Because Thomas and Julio have just not been right. But yeah, he needs his due. I had him leading the league in receiving touchdowns. Hopefully he can still do that because, again, he gets a little bit injured. But again, yeah, a great receiver and a great find for this Packers team. Number 3 is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tom Brady, I want to say this. I have always believed Tom Brady to be not only the greatest player of all time, but the best football player of all time. And people will disagree with me a lot. People will say Lawrence Taylor. People will say Jerry Rice. But look what he's doing. I mean, he comes in, he's 43 years old. It's just a quarterback position. It is what it is. I mean, this team, Jameis Winston was a turnover machine. They had so much talent, yet they went 7-9. They're literally a few turnovers away from being a playoff team. He's not turning the ball over. He's got all these weapons. He's throwing touchdown after touchdown to player after player. I mean, Gronk, Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin. I think all 4 of his touchdown passes were to different receivers, which is very good. And like I said, coming into the year, this defense is going to be good. I did not expect it to be this good. I'll say that. I mean, this defense is elite. And it's elite in all 3 phases. For example, their pass rush is very good. Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, and all that. Their linebackers are the fastest in the league, in my opinion. They play with such ferocity. Great linebackers. And then their secondary has stepped up despite being young. I mean, think about it. With Todd Bowles, he can develop these young players in the secondary to be even better. And again, Jamal Dean, a guy who I thought could make the Pro Bowl this year, looking really good. Carlton Davis, another guy. And, of course, shout out Antoine Winfield. Now, the one thing with this team, there are more playmakers on offense. We've already talked about it. I think Antonio Brown, shout out him for obviously showing love to our podcast. But I think there's so many playmakers on offense as well. Each player can go off. And Brady's ability to spread the ball is just tremendous. It doesn't matter who he's throwing to. So, I mean, obviously Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. I mean, the list goes on. And the offensive line is playing better. I wanted to also shout out that they're playing clean football. My question also, again, for this team was the questions on the road when the game slows down, because that's one thing I wanted to say. In Chicago, for example, the game was cold weather. It slowed down, and they weren't able to play up to par. That's when they started getting a little bit choppy. So I want to see that. They've played very clean football as of recent because the game went a little bit fast. Again, you play against LV, you're going to have a fast-paced game with the Raiders. They always try to throw the ball down the field. Same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So when the games slow down, how does it work? And that's going to be the question come playoff time. But this team is a definite contender. It should be honestly favored for the NFC right now. Number 2 is going to be, I hate to say it, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This defense is all-time elite. I mean, like this defense is it's absolutely lethal. And this is without Devin Bush. I mean, they have Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, TJ Watt, obviously the leader. I think he's a top 15 player in the NFL, maybe even top 10 borderline. And they sold me on the Browns game, and here's where they sold me. The fact that TJ Watt could guess the snap count shows how good this defense is. Big Ben is, I'm not going to say he's holding them back, because coming into the game, he had 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, he was playing great. He was playing some of the best football he's played in his career. Obviously, he's got to clean up those mistakes, though. I mean, those 3 picks were very costly, and they almost cost him the game. We're a field goal away from potentially losing. But it just shows, again, this offense, any receiver can go off. I mean, you've got Juju, you've got Deontay Johnson, you've got Chase Claypool, who's amazing, by the way. And obviously, I believe I didn't say James Washington. So you've got 4 receivers that can go off on any given Sunday. And it just shows how good these receivers can be. They don't need a number 1. You know what? I'll even concede that. I was always curious, who's going to be that number 1? Who's going to be that number 2? They don't need it. In fact, I think they just need a receiver to be a number 1 for a day rather than a season. So I think that's very impressive to see. Again, James Conner is doing his thing. This offensive line is tremendous. It shows that the Steelers have the facets of the game that you need to win. The quarterback is still, I give Ben the nod. They have the offensive line. They have the coach. And that's why they're playing so well. They're the only undefeated team. I do want to call out Minkah Fitzpatrick, though. He's not playing to the same level he played last year. I think he only has 23 tackles. He had 1 good play against the Browns, obviously the pick 6. But other than that, hasn't really showed up. So let's see what Minkah Fitzpatrick can do. Joe Hayden is still a top 10 corner, by the way. Quick shout out to him. I miss him a lot. But again, big game against Baltimore. We keep saying the Steelers have tests, kind of like the Niners last year, I feel like. But yeah, it is. It's a big game against Baltimore. Let's see how this team looks. And number 1, it's not biased. I swear it's not. Number 1 is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, and I have to say it. Mahomes, boy. All right. As I said earlier, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. It's not close, in my opinion. Well, yeah, in my opinion, it isn't. Russell Wilson is still great. But what I said coming into the year, too, and this was why, I was high on other guys to win the MVP. Unfortunately, Carson Wentz is not going to, but, it is what it is. I said Mahomes wasn't going to be asked to do as much, and that clearly was shown here. They were efficient, right? And they dominated all 3 facets of the game: special teams, defense, and offense. I think they had a touchdown in each. And the thing with Mahomes is he's learning how to be a surgeon, an efficient guy, just dotting it down, long play drives, taking time off the clock rather than all these deep passes. And you know what? When they need him to, like, for example, against the Chargers, when they needed a big play, 54-yard bomb to Hill. So you know what? When they need him to make a play, he'll make the play. But this just shows, as of right now, because obviously his contract will come, but as of right now, they're not relying on only Mahomes' magic to win them games, and that is the best formula for long-term success. I can tell you that. Andy Reid is doing it great, and that's why the Patriots have been so good. They don't need Tom Brady to go out there and get you 400 yards and 5 touchdowns a game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Bell, it's a great combo. I think it's going to be a very lethal one coming into January. This team, this Kansas City Chiefs team, is prime for a repeat, barring anything major. Clear favorites in the AFC. I would love to see the Chiefs go up against the Steelers. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll happen. At least not in the regular season. It's not happening. Maybe in the playoffs, let's see it. But again, yeah, quick shout out to Mahomes, and this Kansas City Chiefs team is number 1. So that being said, this is my top 10. Let me know what you guys think. There were definitely, I'm sure there was a little bit of controversy with my numberings, and also maybe some teams that you wanted to see in, maybe some teams you wanted to see out. So please let me know anything on my analysis that I missed. Please let me know in the comments below. Follow all our socials down below as well. Road to 500 on Instagram and Road to 300 here. We really appreciate all the support. We love doing these videos for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.